China just unveiled a tank that can hunt in total silence, see through its own armor, and command robot armies from inside a bomb-proof capsule, while America's best tank is so fat it literally cannot deploy to the war we're about to fight. And the most humiliating part isn't even the technology gap. It's that the Pentagon knew this was coming and still let it happen. Here's the number that should make your blood run cold. The Type 100 weighs 35 to 40 tons and can cross every bridge, rice paddy, and mud field in Asia. The M1 Abrams weighs nearly 80 tons and would collapse 85% of the bridges in the Indo-Pacific theater. The Pentagon admitted this in internal assessments that leaked this year. America's flagship tank, the one we've spent 40 years upgrading into a rolling fortress, cannot physically show up to the battlefield where the next war will be fought. It's too heavy for the infrastructure. It sinks into soft ground. It can't be transported efficiently. We built a tank for German highways and Middle Eastern deserts, and China built a tank specifically designed to dominate the exact terrain where they know they'll fight us. This isn't a close call. This is a design philosophy that understood the future while we were still living in the past. But let me be very clear about what makes this a true humiliation and not just a weight problem. This isn't about China building a lighter tank. It's about China building a lighter tank that is also more lethal, more survivable, more intelligent, and easier to deploy than anything the United States currently fields. They didn't sacrifice capability for mobility. They surpassed us on both. Start with the engine, because this is where the gap becomes undeniable. The Abrams runs on a turbine engine originally designed for helicopters. It generates an ear-splitting roar you can hear from kilometers away and consumes 3 gallons of fuel per mile. Not per hour of operation, per mile of movement. That means every single Abrams needs a massive logistics tail of fuel trucks just to function. You cannot hide it. You cannot surprise anyone with it. It screams its location to every enemy sensor, every thermal camera, every acoustic detector within range. It's a 73-ton announcement that American armor is coming. China's Type 100 runs on a 1,500 horsepower hybrid electric powertrain. And here's where it gets genuinely terrifying. This tank can shut down its combustion engine completely and operate in pure electric mode. It moves in absolute silence. Zero engine noise, zero thermal signature from exhaust. It is invisible to the acoustic sensors and thermal detection systems that every modern military uses to track armored vehicles. Imagine what that means on an actual battlefield. The American tank is roaring, burning fuel, lighting up every enemy screen. The Chinese tank is stalking in silence, and the first time you know it's there is when the round is already in the air. That is not an incremental advantage. That is a different kind of war. And it's not just about stealth, it's about endurance. Because the Abrams is chugging 3 gallons per mile, it can only operate for a few hours before it needs refueling. The hybrid system in the Type 100 allows it to extend its operational range dramatically, running on electric power during low-intensity movement, and only firing up the combustion engine when it needs full combat power. Fewer fuel convoys, longer missions, less predictable logistics for an enemy to target. China designed this tank to operate independently in hostile territory, while the Abrams needs a convoy of support vehicles just to survive the day. Now let's talk about what happened when the Abrams actually went to war recently, because Ukraine gave the world a masterclass in how legacy tank design gets you killed. In 2024 and 2025, cheap commercial drones, the kind you can buy on Amazon, dropped grenades through the thin top armor of American M1 Abrams tanks in Ukraine and turned them into coffins. The US response was to bolt on heavy slat armor and external reactive plates. That added even more weight to a tank already too fat to deploy and created a Frankenstein patchwork of fixes for a design that was never built for drone warfare. It's the equivalent of putting band-aids on a structural failure. China watched that exact same war and built the Type 100 with integrated drone defense from day one. It has the GL6 active protection system built into the frame. This isn't bolted on desperation. This is engineered in survival. The system uses phased array radar to detect incoming threats, whether that's a Javelin missile arcing down from above or a kamikaze drone diving at the roof. The moment a threat is detected, the system automatically launches interceptor rockets that destroy the projectile in midair before it ever touches the tank. It is a fully automatic force field that requires zero human input. The Abrams is a sitting target waiting for the next drone. The Type 100 swats them out of the sky on autopilot. But even if something gets through that shield, here's the design choice that separates these two machines at a fundamental level. If an American Abrams takes a turret hit and the ammunition cooks off, the crew inside dies. They burn. There is no escape. The Chinese Type 100 has a fully unmanned turret. Every shell, every gun, the entire autoloader sits up top with zero humans inside. The crew, all two of them, sit deep in the hull in a separate armored capsule that is isolated from the ammunition. If a missile blows the turret clean off, the crew opens the hatch and walks away. The tank is gone, but the soldiers are fine. Think about what that means for crew survivability and morale. American tankers know that a turret hit is a death sentence. Chinese tankers know their vehicle is designed to die so they don't have to. And yes, I said 2 crew members, not 4. That is not a typo. That is a revolution. The Abrams needs 4 people: driver, commander, gunner, loader. 4 highly trained soldiers per tank. The United States military is currently facing its worst recruiting crisis in 50 years. We do not have enough people. The Type 100 runs with a driver and a commander. That's it. China replaced the human gunner with an AI-assisted fire control system that identifies and tracks targets autonomously. They replaced the human loader with a smart autoloader that feeds shells faster and more reliably than any human ever could. They cut the manpower requirement in half, eliminated human error in 2 of the most critical roles, and turned the operation of a main battle tank into something 2 people can handle, with less stress and more lethality. This is not some gimmick. This is force multiplication at the design level. For every 4 soldiers the US needs to field 1 tank, China fields 2. And they do it with systems that do not get tired, do not miss under pressure, and do not hesitate. Now let's talk about what those 2 crew members actually see when they're inside, because this is where science fiction became standard issue. American tankers inside an Abrams peer through tiny periscopes and outdated digital screens. They have narrow fields of view. They have blind spots. If something is outside their limited viewing angle, they do not see it until it's too late. The crew of the Type 100 wears augmented reality helmets, the same technology Chinese fighter pilots use. External cameras covering the entire tank feed live video directly into their headsets. The commander has a 360-degree view in real time. He can look left and see through the armor on the left side of the tank. He can look up and see the sky above him as if the roof didn't exist. It is functionally X-ray vision. There are no blind spots, there are no gaps. While American crews are guessing what's around the corner, Chinese crews see everything, all the time. And here's where this gets truly next level. The Type 100 is not just a tank, it is a command node. It was designed from the ground up to operate as part of a networked battlefield. From inside that augmented reality interface, the tank commander can control unmanned ground vehicles like China's VNT-10 armed robot and coordinate swarms of aerial drones. He does not just drive a tank. He commands a pack of expendable machines that scout ahead, draw fire, flank, provide overwatch, jam enemy communications. One Chinese tank enters the battlefield with its own robotic strike team. One American tank enters alone, relying entirely on its own guns and armor. That is not parity. That is a completely different level of operational capability. Now let's talk about logistics, because logistics is how you actually win wars, and this is where the humiliation becomes almost cinematic. To move a single M1 Abrams by air, the United States Air Force needs to dedicate an entire C-17 Globemaster transport. 1 plane, 1 tank, and it barely fits. The ramp closed with inches to spare. Now remember, the Type 100 weighs half as much. That means Chinese transport aircraft can carry 2, possibly 3 of these tanks in a single sortie. They can paradrop them. They can land them on improvised dirt strips. They can move an entire armored battalion by air in the time it takes the US to load tanks onto ships that won't arrive for weeks. Speed of deployment is lethality. The ability to put armor on the ground in 24 hours instead of 24 days decides who controls the battlefield. And we just got destroyed on that metric. But let's go even deeper into the technical mismatch, because the fire control system gap is borderline terrifying. A well-trained American gunner is excellent. Human reflexes, human intuition, human experience all matter. But biology has limits. The human brain needs time to process a visual threat, communicate it, calculate the shot, and execute. Even the best gunner in the world is working in the range of multiple seconds. Leaked assessments of the Type 100's AI-enhanced targeting system suggest it can detect a threat, classify it, calculate ballistics, compensating for wind and movement, and lock the gun in under 0.8 seconds. Less than 1 second from detection to ready to fire. In a surprise encounter at combat range, the Chinese tank will see the American tank aim and shoot before the American crew has finished identifying what they're looking at. This is not about courage. This is not about training. This is about the speed of light beating the speed of human thought. Now, to be fair, the United States is not sitting on its hands. In late 2025, the Pentagon acknowledged publicly what everyone in defense circles already knew. The Abrams is obsolete for modern peer conflict. They canceled planned upgrade programs and announced the M1 a next-generation platform with promises of hybrid electric engines, reduced weight, advanced active protection, and AI-assisted systems. On paper, it looks like it could match the Type 100. But here is the detail that turns that announcement from reassuring to humiliating. The M1 is a program. It is not a tank. The United States has early prototypes, design reviews, contractor negotiations. If everything goes perfectly, if budgets hold, if development doesn't hit the usual delays, the M1 might see limited fielding by the end of this decade. Might. China is not working on prototypes. The Type 100 is already in field training exercises. It is already being deployed to frontline units. It is already operational. They built the machine. We are still drawing up the plans for the machine we wish we had. That is not a competition. That is a lap. And here is the truly dark part that nobody in Washington wants to say out loud. This did not happen by accident. This did not happen because Chinese engineers are smarter. This happened because the United States spent 20 years fighting insurgents in the Middle East, while China spent 20 years studying us and building the weapons specifically designed to kill what we field. They watched our tanks roll through Iraq. They watched our doctrine. They noted every weakness, the weight, the logistics, the noise, the vulnerability to top attack. And they built a tank that exploits every single one of those vulnerabilities while negating every American advantage. This was not innovation in a vacuum. This was a focused, deliberate, multi-decade effort to dethrone American armored dominance, and it worked. You want to know how serious this is? Go look at what Australian and South Korean defense analysts have been saying quietly since early 2026. Both countries are US treaty allies. Both are looking at Chinese armor developments and asking whether American equipment can actually defend them in a real Pacific conflict. That question was unthinkable 5 years ago. It is being asked out loud now. And the answer they are arriving at is making them hedge their bets in ways that should terrify anyone who understands how alliances collapse. And just so we're clear about where this story is heading, you should probably subscribe, because this is not a one-time humiliation. This is the template playing out across jets, ships, missiles, and every domain where we assumed we'd stay on top forever. So here is the question I need you to sit with. If a shooting war starts in the Taiwan Strait or the South China Sea in the next 2 years, what do we actually roll onto those islands? A tank that cannot cross the bridges, cannot hide from sensors, cannot defend itself from drone swarm, needs twice the crew we do not have, and runs out of gas every 50 miles? Or do we admit that the Emperor has no clothes, and the weapon we spent 4 decades and billions of dollars perfecting is now a liability we cannot afford to deploy? Because the Abrams is not just outmatched, it is the wrong answer to the question. And China did not just build a better tank, they built the tank for the war we refused to believe was coming.